Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Prepare to Repair Show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, owner of RJ Graham Plumbing. And joining me in studio is Bill Baker and Eric Klobuchar with Surface Solutions in Mokena. How you doing, gentlemen?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Pretty good.
I was going to say, Eric, you gotta say something.
You got it.
You got to talk. You got to use your words, my man. Use your words. On today's show, we are going to talk about countertops. But before we get to that, I want to let everybody know that the today's show is presented by Ferguson Supply Kitchen and Bath and Lighting Showroom, located at 7950 West 185th Street in Tinley Park. Whether you're doing a minor facelift or a full kitchen and bath remodel, Ferguson has you covered. So, gentlemen, have you guys been to the Frankfurt Car Show in downtown Frankfurt?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they're back downtown in downtown Frankfurt, and they just started their cruise night, which was last week, but it got rained out. So they should be able to go and get that going today. And it started running last week, June 6th, and it runs through September 26th. All cruise nights are subject to weather, and while you're down there, check out some of the shops and other restaurants in beautiful downtown Frankfurt. And I asked you this question off the air, but apparently the gentlemen from Surface Solution, the folks over there, are not going to be in the Mokena 4th of July parade. Peer pressure. All the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah.
What's the matter? Aren't you cool?
We're not there yet. We're trying to be cool. There's no immediate plans as of yet to be there this year, anyways.
I know. I'm playing with you. Well, you guys have done a lot. I mean, you took over in November, and between November and now, give us a brief synopsis of what you've done so far, of what you guys have been able to put together over there.
I mean, what haven't we done? We've touched every square inch of this place when I took over in November, like you said. And I feel like we started off running. I took a couple weeks to kind of analyze everything and get a feel for the lay of the land. And we started taking immediate action. We remodeled the entire showroom. We've remodeled the entire shop space, the back half, and kind of made an extended showroom, if you will, with, I think, 30, 40 something full slabs we have on display now.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that's it. No, but I mean, we've
come
updated.
Over to Surface Solution. We're done. Okay, that's it. That's all the show is.
But I mean, we've updated old equipment. We've bought new equipment. We're making sure we're using the newest state-of-the-art equipment, from laser measuring to the fabrication tools we use. And of course, as soon as I took over, it seemed like everything started breaking, from the garage door down to the little polishers to, you name it, a $300 replacement polisher to,
HVAC
a
unit,
couple $1,000 replacement of stuff, and it seems like this just keeps happening. But a lot of things have been replaced and updated and are brand new now. So we're on a good path right now. So sorry if you were counting on us being at the parade, but we've been a little preoccupied getting kind of the business and the back end in order. And we'll hope to do it next year.
I was only giving you a hard time.
That's okay. I don't give in to peer pressure very well.
All right. Well, good to know. Because you're not one of the cool kids. You're not one of the cool kids that are going to be there. So.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll be on the sides.
Okay.
I'll still be rooting you on.
Awesome. Now talking about, going through Surface Solutions, just what you have done as far as night and day, just totally revamping it to get it to maximum efficiency and getting it where you need it to be. I don't know if a lot of people know what exactly you guys do over there. So what does Surface Solutions do? I mean, what is the scope of what a homeowner can expect when they walk into your showroom?
So basically, I mean, the name of the company is we have a solution to your surface, essentially. So whether it be cabinets and countertops, we handle most stone countertops, so like quartz, quartzite, granite, things like that. are what we specialize in. And then we're just starting to implement cabinetry as well. So we have a little cabinet corner in the showroom with, 15, 20 door styles and colors on display. We have probably 20 plus vanities in stock ready to go. So we're, with my experience in my other business, Relentless Carpentry, where that's what we focus on is cabinets and remodels. We're kind of implementing that here and being able to provide full cabinet services and countertops, so we could be well-rounded in that category.
Okay. Now, we were talking off the air because I was, before the show started, and I happened to be on a job where your crew was assembling and putting together a kitchen, countertops for this homeowner in Plainfield. And Eric was saying, because he remembered the job specifically and actually had a diagram of how complicated this particular job was, where it had a particular kitchen layout that was multiple 45-degree cuts.
Right.
Now, how complicated is a job like that? Because I know that people are going to, when they're looking at this, and a job that is that complicated, if it's not done correctly, can look like you have multiple pieces.
Right.
And you know what I mean? It looks like I have multiple pieces. I put a bunch of them together.
Right.
But when you do something like that and say a homeowner's like, I've got this layout, I don't know if I can get stone. I don't know if I can get something that I would want that would make this, because I'll have seams.
Right.
Your guys were able to put this together and cut this and make it look really good with a complicated setup like that. I mean,
Yeah.
You want to kind of, elaborate a little bit on how you would do that?
It was a very difficult layout. You saw that sink piece. So one, it's a farm sink. When the farm sink goes in, you're scribing the stone exactly to that existing farm sink. And two, there were two 45-degree corners. Behind each of those corners was a windowsill at cabinet level. So you're scribing to all these 45-degree corners, the farm sink itself, with walls that aren't perfectly straight, windowsills that are out of square. So there's a lot of moving parts. And when you're doing quartz, a lot of the times quartz slabs come smaller than granite. So you're working with those angles on a limited slab size to minimize the amount of seams, and then also trying to make sure that the seams look good, that they're in spots that look good, where you can get the veins to match, because they did a Calcutta-style quartz where you're having veins running all throughout the stone. You have to do your best to try to get those to match at the seams so it doesn't look like it was multiple pieces,
Okay.
Obviously, the homeowner is going to know where the seams are, but we try to make it look as seamless as possible to where, someone's not going to walk in the home and say, look where they seam this countertop together. You want it to all flow and look as if it were one piece.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're going to know.
Right.
But even after a while, you forget.
Right.
And that's what you want. And I was watching them put this together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, again, I'm a plumber. Okay. I make water come in, water go out. I make sure the faucet looks good, everything runs. That's my job. I'm watching your guys because they already had the sink in and everything. That looked great. And I'm watching them make these cuts. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do it. And these guys came in. They were, going, discussing it amongst themselves, went out to the truck, and they were making these cuts. And when I wound up coming back to finish up what I had to do a couple days later, this was spot on. All the angles were in. Everything was spot on, looking sharp. And the homeowner was happy. I was putting in the finishing touches on the pot filler, and they were happy with everything.
That's the goal.
Oh yeah, that's the main thing. Now, when you were talking about the veining in the countertops, what does that mean?
So the big thing right now is a Calcutta style quartz, where you have a white base with gray veins, black veins, tan veins running through it, and that's just kind of mimicking a marble look, but getting a more durable surface in quartz. So just streaks running throughout the slab. There's hundreds of different styles of it nowadays, but it just makes it difficult to look good. But that's what we do, is we take that and we make it look good in kitchens.
So that is the most popular style these days?
Yes, that's the trend. Yep.
Bill, you got to answer. You can't nod.
Oh, you can't see me. That's right.
You got to answer, brother.
He's agreeing.
So the products that you guys carry. Now, you mentioned a few of them. You said quartzite, and granite.
Yep.
I mean, are there any marble countertops? I mean, do they still do they still do that? Is that something you guys do, or I mean, is it
Marble's around? Yes, but since quartz has become more mainstream, not as many people are doing it. So the reason people like marble is because they like the whites and the grays. They like that look. White cabinets, white countertops. The problem with marble is it's a very soft and porous stone. So you can do it in your kitchen. It'll scratch easily. It'll stain easily. You'll chip it easily. That's the problem with it. So what quartz is doing is it's giving that look in a more durable surface.
Okay.
Completely non-porous. The material itself is warranted. The colors slab to slab are going to match identical. It's just an all-around better product.
Okay. You're listening to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, right here on 1340 WJOL. I've got Bill Baker and Eric Klobuchar with Surface Solutions joining me, and we're talking stone, granite countertops, and actually quartz. I should say. I mean, is granite out? I mean, is it? I mean, where are we at with that? I mean, because that was the big thing before, and
right.
So where are we at with it now? I mean,
it's there's still a demand for granite. So the reason a lot of people still do granite is to get that natural stone in their house. A lot of people like having a natural rock that came from the earth, putting it in their house and saying this is natural. And in certain applications, when people are going for a more rustic, traditional look, that's what matches is granite countertops. And second is price. So on average, granite will keep the price down, but it really just depends on the color between granite and quartz. A lot of the prices overlap, so it's really just preference. I'd say we're doing about 50-50% between granite and quartz. So quartz is the trend and becoming more popular, but we're still doing a whole lot of granite.
Now, quartz is not a natural stone?
Nope, man-made.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's why you can get some of the colors that you want and the patterns you want?
Yep.
All right. And so the pricing obviously is a little bit cheaper than, I hate to use that word because it's not cheaper. It's, it basically you have different price points. Let's go with that because I hate to use that word because it's not cheaper. It's just you have a different price point based on the product that you have because you're going to have, obviously, granite prices are going to be based on what they are, and, how rare it is or what styles you're going to get. And the same thing you're going to have with your quartz. So I hesitate to use that because Bill's looking at me going, don't say that because it's not cheap. It's a good product. So
it's more affordable.
Okay. Now quartzite you mentioned, is that similar man-made product as well?
So quartzite is a natural stone, and it just has. So the name for quartz itself is confusing. Quartz itself is a natural mineral. What they're doing is they're taking that, grinding it up with powder, resin, colors, and making that man-made quartz stone. Quartzite just has more of that natural quartz in it. So it's a real unique look, almost like an opaque looking stone. A lot of the lighter cream colored quartzites, they're almost like see-through.
Okay.
That's a good way to, a lot of people backlight quartzite countertops because the light will shine through. And you just see a lot more of the texture and fissures in the stone, but a lot more rare, a lot more expensive, a lot tougher of a stone, harder to fabricate, but the end result is pretty amazing.
Okay, I just got a text message from my daughter that's out there, and she was Silent Al on the show, and she sent me a text message. She says, "Don't be rude, Dad. Bill is talking."
Thank you.
So you've got a fan. I just got called out by Silent Al.
I'll be signing autographs when we leave here.
Okay, so basically, I hope you got an extra room because Silent Al is going to need a place to stay. She just got evicted. Got lippy with the wrong person here.
Nice.
So, getting back to the, countertops, I've heard people, a lot of the complaints, or maybe, and I don't want to say complaints because a lot of people, they usually parrot some of the things that people have said or heard about different things and may not have experienced it or know what happened that caused the particular issue. Like, some of the issues, well, you don't want granite because you can't put anything hot on it. It'll stain. You got to seal it, or you can't use this type of stone because it'll do this, that, and the other. What kind of, what do you guys do to dispel a lot of that misinformation that's out there with these particular products? Because stone is one of the most durable products out there that you can have in your kitchen or your bathroom or so forth.
Right. So, yeah, a lot of people come in with that information, assuming they were looking around on the internet and just believing the first thing they see. But,
don't look up stuff on the internet.
That's a lot of what it is. I mean, to be completely honest, you can tell when someone's, just Googling about granite and quartz and comes in with all these thoughts that they think they know about, Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here on the Prepare to Repair show on 1340 WJOL, and we're going to be back and we'll discuss this misinformation. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve Suarez with RJ Graham Plumbing, and I'm joined back with Bill Baker, who I cannot say anything.
Hello.
He is now the golden boy. I can't say anything bad, otherwise I get yelled at by Silent Al. And the vocal and very informative Eric Klobuchar. And before the break, we were talking some of the misinformation regarding stone countertops. And let you elaborate a little bit more about that, some of the stuff you get when people walking in, when they search the internet.
So the biggest thing with granite that people come in talking about is the sealing, the maintenance, if you want to say. But what they don't realize is sealing is at most a 5-minute process that you're doing maybe once a year to play it safe. Some sealers are good for 5 years, some are good for 15 years. It's as simple as putting it on a rag, wiping it on the countertop, let it dry. That's it. That's the maintenance you're doing with granite. With quartz, the main thing people are worried about is heat. So quartz, any stone is cold to the touch. You take something extremely hot and set it on that surface, it's going to want to crack. Granite and quartz both. So as long as you're putting even just a hand towel, a trivet down to absorb that initial heat, let's say you're taking something out of the oven or off the stove, you're not going to have any problems. In the 6 or 7 years I've been doing this, I haven't seen a single surface damaged by heat because most people are cautious with their countertops.
All right, let's put this in perspective, okay? Say I take something right off the stove, I put it on a granite countertop, I put it on a quartz countertop, I could have a potential problem.
Right.
Okay? If I have a Formica or a butcher block countertop and I do the same thing, am I going to have a problem?
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically it's kind of like when anything else. Exactly. So you're going to have a bad time. So it's going to be a problem. So basically that myth is pretty much dispelled. I mean, it's with any product. You have to use it properly, but it is one of the most durable products that are out there that you can put in there, and that's why it's popular. Now, as far as these different types of products, I had somebody ask me, and I know you were saying that you don't do it. Give me a little information about that, because you guys deal with countertops. A gentleman asked me about concrete countertops. I've seen them on the internet being done, and I've seen people talk about them. Now, what about those? I mean, as far as what's your opinion on those?
So I've only had one experience with concrete countertops, and it was for a vacation home in Michigan. And these people had lived there for less than a year, just weekend trip home, and they were removing their concrete countertops to put quartz in. From what I understood, it is very porous, scratches, stains easily, and you asked me the pros and cons before the show. Just a quick Google search. I said the pros would be it's probably cheaper. The cons would be everything else. Right. But just with a quick search, it looks like the prices for concrete countertops are starting higher than what our prices are for granite or quartz.
Really?
So I don't even know if that's a viable option,
Hold on a second. Are you using Google, the very thing that you get mad about people coming to you?
Guilty.
I know, I'm kidding. Yeah. But you know what? It does give you kind of that, that barometer, kind of something to compare.
Right.
So it's not a bad thing, but that is a question, because it is something you'll see on some of these home shows that, I made this and I did it myself. But, I mean, is it something that, like you said, is it durable? And can it be repaired? How do you repair it? And I guess segueing from that, and say somebody has an issue with a stone countertop, do you guys repair it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, is that how do you repair it?
It depends what it is. So, chips and scratches are bound to happen, and it's all repairable. We just take a color matched epoxy with this dye kit. We get the color to match the stone as close as possible. Essentially the same thing we use when we do our seams. And you fill it, and you sand it and polish it, and it's almost like it was never there.
Really?
Yeah, and I would say that's our biggest service call is chips.
Wow.
People dropping something, catching a corner. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Now, one thing I've seen online a lot, and this is probably happening more times as these granite countertops have become popular and they've been around for a while, you're seeing some failures with some of the products that they put in, or seeing some changes that they want to do. And I say that because I bought this house and I have this everything. I have granite stone countertops, and I've got this sink that's in there. Well, the sink is older. I want to replace it, or it's starting to peel away. Now people are looking to, I want to replace this. And I believe there was actually somebody, and you probably saw this on one of the social media pages, where they had a specific design of sink where one bowl was bigger than the other, and they wanted to find something that will replace that, and instead of it being a double bowl, maybe a single bowl setup, and the countertop was cut for this particular model of sink, and there's not much you can do with that.
Nope. We get that phone call, I would say, a couple times a month, is people want to change the style of their sink, and there's really not much you can do there, because the sink cutout is done in the shop with water, polishing machines, produces a lot of dust. Mm-hmm. So to modify something like that in someone's home, or to chance taking out the countertop and transporting it back to the shop and doing that, is just a lot of liability that most places aren't going to take on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, if there were a defective sink and they wanted to replace it with the same model sink, absolutely, that's something that's possible. Okay. But a lot of the times when you're changing that model and the size of the cutout, not many places will be willing to do it.
Yeah, we get people calling us, asking us to replace these sinks, and we don't do it because of the way they're pinned in there, and when they're done right, they're drilled out by you guys. Mm-hmm. They use pins and they're threaded in and they're bolted on. Now, I have seen some installs where they didn't pin it. They used a silicone and then used plywood, or not plywood, but 2x4s, holding it up at different points and creating that seal. And there's nothing holding it but that silicone. Mm-hmm. Now, over time, the banging of pots and bouncing around, you start to see the sink pull away. Since they're undermount, people don't really see it right away until the bottom of their cabinet is destroyed. Yep. And, we would get calls. There's nothing we can do. You're going to have to call a countertop company. And like you said, are you guys going to go out and start drilling these things in the field with the possibility of now you own a whole countertop? That's what do people do in that situation?
Get new countertops.
Really?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not going to be much cheaper. By the time we try to take out something old, bring it back to the shop, refabricate it, bring it back out, install it, make sure everything's nice and good again. Depending what you select for a new countertop, you could almost get new countertops for only a little bit more.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Just the effort, because we get that call a lot where people have, I have this issue with my sink, I have this, and I want to replace it, or it's in bad shape, or it's peeling, and whatever the case, and they're looking for someone to do it, and like I said, won't. They want to drop a new one in. I'm not cutting a granite piece of stone in the field. And I actually ran into one about 5 to 6 years ago where they wanted a Insta-Hot type of spout, where they already had the spout there, and it was hot and cold, and they wanted a whole setup. And when they drilled the hole, they didn't drill it straight. They drilled it on an angle. So the actual spout would only go in part way. And this was literally this whole island. It was in Burr Ridge. This whole island was probably about 10 feet long, and this was about almost 8 feet wide. It was huge, this whole island. And they wanted me to drill because it had a sink in there. And they're like, can you drill it out? No. What would an island, just of regular granite, an island that big, what would that run? Just today's
what was the size?
10 feet by 8 feet?
8 by 10 feet, yeah.
Oh.
Probably 2,000 pounds.
Yeah. How much would that run ballpark?
Oh, man.
Just today's dollars.
Depending on the color.
Yeah.
$2,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Steve wouldn't.
And
do
there'd
it.
be a seam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was one piece. I think
8
this was
feet by
this
10
was
feet?
one piece.
So,
yes.
yeah. Maybe 6 or 7 feet max with slab height.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, that'd be a full-size slab.
Yeah. This was one piece. I think it was one piece. I may be a little bit off on maybe the width on it, but this thing was a full solid island piece. And you've seen some of the kit. I mean, this was a huge kitchen. And I was just like, nope. I'm not, this is not something I do. I stay in my lane. And it was just, no. I mean, you got to call someone to drill that out right. And I mean, again, how many would you guys tackle something like that going out there and drilling it?
If it's, it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If it's
case by case,
if it's a material that was installed by us and it's a returning customer, more times than not, yes, we'll do it.
Okay.
Depending on what the job is. A faucet hole, yes. If it's something that wasn't installed by us and we don't know what the material is, where it came from, we're in the same situation as you.
Yeah.
What happens if we go to drill it and the stone itself was damaged and cracks and breaks, and now what are we in for this 30 square foot island?
Yeah.
So
you own it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's again, it's so basically the moral of the story, when people call up, say, a company, whether it be a plumbing company or whatever, or a countertop company, and you have this issue, it's not that they don't want the job when it comes to certain things. It's the liability that what if
Right.
Oh, yeah.
that is going to be the deterrent, because you have to look at it. Because now once I touch it, I own it.
That's the problem.
And who's responsible?
Right.
And I mean, you may find someone that'll touch it, but I mean, if it's just a guy coming in, he's going to drill that for you, and he says he can do it. Well, if he's going to take responsibility for that.
There's a lot of risk and liability, and unfortunately, like you said, there's things that we want to be able to do, that we want to be able to offer.
Right.
Whether on the cabinet end or the countertop end, it's just the liability, and unfortunately, to make $100 and maybe end up buying a $5,000 piece,
Isn't worth it.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work for us as a business. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on, we're going to talk, like we've already got to the different types of products. What is your favorite? I'm going to ask you, Bill, what is your favorite type of product?
Countertop product?
Yes.
Quartz.
Quartz?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like quartz. I like it for its consistency. It's a man-made product, so every slab typically is going to be like the same, from the same supplier, same color. There's a certain consistency to that I like. There's a lot of nice colors, a lot of sparkles, a lot of options.
Okay.
So I'm fairly new in the countertop game, so I don't know all the different options, but as of right now, I have a lot of quartz in my house. Big fan of it. The maintenance of it, there is no maintenance.
That was another question. Okay, Eric, what's your opinion?
I like granite. I
Granite?
like the natural stone.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. All right, go on. Why?
Just some of it's so crazy.
Just remember, you guys came together and Bill was driving. So go on.
You know what? It depends on the situation. If I were a little bit older with kids and were worried about how other people were
Now
going to
I'm
treat the
older.
countertops,
Wow, you just keep digging, buddy.
probably I'd go with quartz in that situation, just for the durability. The material itself is warranted. You're not going to have any problems with it. But for myself, I would do granite. I don't know if you've seen my desk in the showroom, but it is a bright blue granite natural stone. And it's just, some of the beauty you get out of it is unmatched.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe it came out of the earth.
Yeah.
Which is more durable? Oh, here we go.
Quartz.
Quartz is more durable?
Being a
For sure.
man-made stone, yeah.
Okay.
So any overhangs, off the end of an island or peninsula, quartz will withstand much more than granite will. So people aren't having to put in additional supports,
Okay.
To be worried about their stone cracking.
Yeah, because I have seen applications where you have that overhang for stools or whatever, So, I was wondered. I mean, what stopped that from, being a weak point and snapping?
Yeah, and sometimes if it's a granite or the overhang's so large, then we recommend putting in brackets and supports.
Right.
Which isn't always ideal, but
Okay.
there's some concealed ones nowadays, flat iron brackets that are pretty nice.
Now, What do you think of the waterfall type of concept on the cabinets or the tops?
I like it. Yeah, we've got, just in our showroom, we have two. Our showroom's full of waterfalls.
Everything's waterfalls.
Actually, everything is.
Yeah.
Our reception
bring
desk.
a raincoat.
Our reception desk. My desk has 2 waterfalls. It's almost boxed like a cube.
Right.
And then on the end of our little coffee station in the cabinet corner, those are both waterfalls as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a neat look. It's a good way to make a small kitchen, especially, appear like it has more counter space and kind of open it up.
Now, I'll let you guys explain what a waterfall type of countertop is.
So what a waterfall is you're essentially extending the countertop and running it down off the end to the floor. So it's got 2 mitered corners, and that corner is glued with the color-matched epoxy, and you just see the polished stone run all the way down to the floor instead of seeing an exposed cabinet end.
Yeah.
It's a nice look. I've seen it, done. It looks fantastic.
Right.
So, and is that pretty popular now?
You see it every now and then. I would say we're doing, 1 or 2 jobs a week that has a waterfall leg on it.
Really?
And then, and it's not that expensive to do. Some people might think it's an expensive add-on to do, but really all you're paying for is more material.
Okay.
A couple more square feet.
Yep.
All right. Now, as far as, now we talked about you guys do, kitchen countertops. Now, stone what other uses have you seen people have for stone? As far, you got countertops, and obviously you got, vanity tops, but what else what else have you seen it being used for?
Especially this time of year, we do a lot of outdoor grills. So again, countertops, but outdoor grills. We actually did a memorial, I believe it was in Munster, Indiana, where we built a memorial for a fire station.
Okay.
So yeah, essentially anything's possible with it. It's just the big thing is countertops, but we get a lot of, shower pieces, shower benches, thresholds, bathroom countertops, outdoor countertops. We've done stepping stones. Someone's put stepping stones in their garden. Mm-hmm. But a lot of possibilities.
Have you done like shower walls of stone?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
How popular are those?
Not very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've run into now. Okay, I was going to ask how you hang those up, but I guess that's probably going to be another show because I would be so worried. About those things, coming over, and and you really have no other option if you have to service any of the plumbing behind the wall. So
that's true.
You're in. You're in once it's in.
We're not worried about the plumbers. We're just, once we get our stuff in.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's like I only care about me. It's not
our problem. Call the plumber.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're done here. That's all.
Yeah.
So
and something else I want to point out in regards to outdoor countertops. Not all countertops and stones are made alike. So granite is the ideal candidate for outside countertops.
Okay. You're listening to the Prepare to Repair show here on WJOL 1340. I'm joined, it's me, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing, joined by Bill Baker and Eric from Surface Solutions. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to touch a little bit more on the differences in the...
Noon to 4.
Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Plumber Steve, with RJ Graham Plumbing. Joining me is Bill and Eric with Surface Solutions. I just got told to stop crying from Evan and, hurt my feelings. I think I'm going to need a safe space or a timeout after this one. Got yelled at by my daughter and by Evan. It's Monday. That works out really good. So, but before the break, we were talking about just some of the different stones that you guys did and applications that you have for it inside and outdoor kitchens and so forth. And we were talking with Ferguson about they did outdoor kitchens as well. As far as the products they sell, and you're kind of tying in a lot of stuff that what they said. Now there's a different stone application for the exterior.
Yeah. So granite, since it's a natural stone, is meant to be outside. So where quartz will not hold up.
Really?
I don't know all the reasons why, but I know that to be for sure.
Most quartz is not UV stable, so that's the big problem. Is you'll notice it fade over time when exposed to the sun. So there's some instances at places I've used to work where they store quartz outside. You go and you move the top piece after a couple months of being in the sun. It is 5 shades lighter than the pieces behind it.
Oh,
yep.
All right. So you have to so you're not going to be able to use that particular product out there. You have to use the granite.
Granite, yeah.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
There are a couple companies who make a quartz that say it is stable to be outdoors. We have never done it, though.
Okay.
So it's out there. It exists. We've never done it. We've used the product, but not in an outdoor application.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, because during the break we were talking. I was telling my experience with somebody who used, who decided to use granite. They lived across the street from a granite company in Chicago, and they decided to take the scraps and make steps out of them, like a walking path out of them, which looked beautiful until it rained. And then they became just slippery, and I'm there bringing my machine in there, and I'm like, my feet are falling out from under me. I must have fell 3 times. and I go to the homeowner. I said, those are nice. He goes, yeah. I go, but they're not good when it's wet. He goes, yeah, we found that out. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for telling me before I fell 3 times with this machine. He goes, yeah, don't walk on them. Thanks. Okay. Information that's useful when I pulled up. So now what kind of, being as this is so popular and this is everybody's, doing some sort of, when they're doing a remount, they're doing some sort of stone. I don't think anybody's really going back with I guess butcher block is kind of popular. I've seen them use it, but I don't know if it's really taken on the steam that granite or stone countertops have. What kind of specials do you guys have as far as going on right now that somebody would, run over to Surface Solutions and, book their stuff? And plus, let me ask this and back up as far as even specials, availability of products. How are you guys looking on that?
It's been okay. I don't think we have much issue as far as product availability like we've experienced on the cabinet end.
Okay.
Where I have some cabinet lines that are pushing like 20-week lead times right now. Countertops so far, at least to my knowledge, have had very little, if any, hiccup or delay as far as availability goes. And then we also have hundreds of slabs in stock.
Right.
So we're not always at the mercy of having to order something in. Granted, we're not going to have something you might want, but we have hundreds of options, full slabs in stock, remnants in stock to choose from available right now. And our lead times, I think, right now are pushing 4-ish weeks from the time that you make the commitment to move forward with the countertop purchase.
Well, let me ask you this. Say one of our listeners, they go in, they're like, I'm going to go over by Surface Solutions, and they go walk through your showroom, and they see, you know what, I've got a couple of vanities in, 2 different bathrooms, and they see a remnant that you have there that would work perfect. Now, would that be something that would take a long period of time to do, or is that something that would be done relatively, quickly than a bigger job such as a, like a countertop or whatever, or not a kitchen like countertop?
Right. That's a good question because I get that it's a small project and it's something we have available. The problem is we lock in our schedule and we're committed, so many jobs a day. Before, if we start booking too many jobs a day, that's when problems start happening. So we're booked out comfortably right now, about 4 weeks.
Okay.
Whether it's a vanity or a whole kitchen, because we want to be able to give the same service to everyone alike, whether it's a small job, big job. If we try to squeeze in a small job, let's say tomorrow or a week from now, but we've already kind of booked out our capacity, but we're just trying to get it in. I'm not saying something's going to go wrong, but that's when things go wrong, is when we start to get spread thin. Guys are working late and just, it just doesn't work out for anybody. So while I want to be able to give you your vanity, next week, to ensure that we're going to give you the service and product that, you're paying for, we got to get in line.
Everybody gets their time. So, that's the main thing. And plus, if it can go wrong, it will. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times these jobs take on a life of their own, whereas just the perfect example of that one job that I was talking about that had the multiple angles. Mm-hmm. It took them, gentlemen, quite a little bit of time to get that perfect. And that job is going to be more complicated, and that would be where if you did think that was going to go well, and then you booked something on top of it to be able to do it. Now they're running late. Now they're stressed. Now they're rushing through.
Yep.
And that's where mistakes
that's
happen.
Probably a perfect example.
Exactly.
Because, you never know what could happen. Not that anything went wrong. There was just unforeseen circumstances where something comes up that takes a little bit longer to fabricate. Things happen, but we always make it right. But we schedule accordingly and allow ourselves enough time in a day to get through a job, whether there's a hiccup or not.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the reason why I ask is because a lot of people have asked, well, things like that with us. It's like, okay, I have a smaller job. I have this, I have that, and just like same thing. It's a smaller job. Can it be fit in? But when you are trying to do and have a schedule that's already placed and you try to fit it in, now you may get something where there's a cancellation or maybe not a cancellation, but maybe you find out that something didn't come in, like cabinets didn't come in or something like that, and there's a delay on one. Then someone may get lucky at that point and be able to do it.
It could be that. Could be a cancellation. Could be a reschedule of time. It didn't work for them. Something didn't align. Right. In which case we'll reach out to the next person in line and say, hey, we can get you in whatever day it is. Does that work for you?
Right. Well, that's how it is with us. I mean, I say this because I want to, give people our side as business owners, as small business owners, just trying to give everybody the best product that we can and making sure they get the best results they can get. And there's a process to it. And sometimes if you rush that process as much as you want it to happen, it doesn't deliver you the best product. And in order to get the best product, I think the key word, and maybe I'm sure you guys agree, is patience.
Yeah.
Patience will give you the best product.
Yeah.
Now, if you keep getting blown off and pushed off and blown off and pushed off, and it's no, that's not patience. That's something you have a legitimate gripe about. But I'm talking about when it's like, okay, you'd like it a little bit sooner, but you're falling within the time frame. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So, but as we start to wrap up the end of the show, I wanted to ask you warranties. What is the usual lifespan and warranties on the products you guys sell?
So, warranty on our workmanship is 1 year, and that's very lenient. So down the road, if you were to ever have any problems with your seams or the sink or any faucet holes, anything like that, just call us and we'll come out and take care of it. Quartz itself, being a man-made stone, depending on the manufacturer, will be warranted. Some of them are 10 years, 15 years. Some of them are lifetime. But for the most part, quartz will be warranted for at least 10 years, which I would say, lifetime of the stone will last forever, but trends change and people replace countertops. So I would say most of the time the countertop itself will outlast the trend.
Now, let me ask you this. What do you do with say they have stone or you remove one of these, what do you do with the old one?
To be completely honest, most of the time it gets recycled. So we have a guy.
No, that's not a bad thing. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking people asking. It's like nowadays where everything is just a throwaway society. The fact that if you can recycle some of these to give them a new life or something, that's not a bad thing.
So it's picked up with a dump truck and it's taken and turned into gravel. I'm pretty sure as a foundation for like asphalt or concrete.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's. When you can do something like that, I mean, when we do any kind of projects like copper or anything, we will recycle it. We will, we'll scrap it. Actually, I was at a job, this is years ago, where my bid was actually lower because we were turning this old medical office, which had 20 rooms with 20 sinks, and each one of them had copper drains and vents, that they were turning into a pool hall. And it was an open space. So the guy asked me, how was I able to beat his bid? I said, because I took all the copper and everything that we all the piping that we didn't use, we scrapped it and bought all of his material. So that was all his anyway. Where the other contractor was going to scrap it, pocket the money, and then charge him again to do all this, I was able to do that. So, I mean, recycling, we will recycle if we can to help if it will work. There's a way to make money and a way to make the project work for everybody, and we recycle when we can too. I mean, PVC or plastic you can't really do that, but for steel and copper you can. But yeah, and the warranties are great. That's one of the things I ask because that's people want to know about warranties. What's going to happen? What happens when? So that is definitely something to to know because these aren't cheap. I mean, they're very. It's an investment into your kitchen, and it's going to look good. They want to know it's going to look well for a long time. So. Anything you want to add about anything special, anything going on that you guys have over at the Surface Solution as we end the show?
Just stop and check us out. It's a whole new. If you've stopped in, they've been in business 7 years or so, okay. And I have purchased it in November. So if you've come in the past, I encourage you to come check it out. Even just stop by and say hi. Yeah. Ask for Eric. But everything's much more customer friendly. It's a friendly, safe environment. I encourage you to check it out. And I will also mention that we have an ad running in Save On if you're looking for some coupons. Okay. There's some stuff in there. So check your local Save On. I think it's in certain Will County territories, but local to us. So if you're local to Mokena, you probably get it. Check it out. Bring a coupon in. Say hi.
So you guys, not only that, as we wrap up everything, they can call you for countertop kitchen. Just a whole one-stop shop. I mean, because I've worked with you on many of jobs. That's how I've gotten referrals from you, and I've worked with you on many of jobs. And one-stop shop. They can get everything done with cabinets, with countertops, so forth. So
because like I mentioned before, I also own Relentless Carpentry that does the full-on kitchen remodels. We do interior trim work. So no matter who you call, we're going to be able to handle the whole project for you, start to finish.
Fantastic. I want to thank you, Bill and Eric with Surface Solutions. How do people get a hold of you?
You could find us at surfacesolutionsIL.com. We are also at 9615 194th Placer Street in Mokena, or stop by and check us out. We're open Monday through Saturday.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I want to thank everybody who listened, and I also want to thank Ferguson, who is a sponsor of the show. They've been awesome to us. Head on over to Ferguson Supply, 7950 West 185th Street in Tinley Park for all your kitchen, bath, and lighting needs. Until next week, everybody, have a good one.